Hi guys, Barry here again. So I'm back in the PolyTunnel now, and we have the PolyTunnel finally dug. The four long beds. We have approximately 50 square meters of beds dug in here. We used the double dig method, and it was back-breaking work. It's the middle of January now. We started in the middle of December, so it took us nearly a month over the whole Christmas to get this bit done. We weren't here all day every day. Like I was saying in the last video, we spent a couple of hours. We had a few other jobs to be doing around here, so we spent a couple of hours every day. And if we done a big day of digging, we took a break from the digging the next day, because it is quite difficult, you know. I found out from the person that owns the land here, previous to us, that all this was on a big slope. So where we're sitting now, this was about 8 foot, like the land was about 8 foot higher than what it was here. Like there's a big slope continuing down here. We're down at the end of a valley, and this had been all cleared mechanically by machines about 30 years ago. So this was cleared, and that's why the soil here was super compacted. Like a load of machines had been driving over it. There was patches here where it was nothing but stone and heavy rock. There was patches where it was lovely loamy soil, so it was pretty hard going, you know, to get down. We went down about 24 inches. We dug down the depth of a spade, and we forked it all out, so it took us a good while. What I'm going to do now that we've the beds here prepared, I'm going and dug, I'm going to get ready for the growing season. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually fertilize the ground. I'm going to use all organic fertilizers. I'm going to use top mix, chicken pellet mix. I'm going to add kelp meal, rock dust, volcanic rock dust, and then I'm going to put a layer of compost over all of that. At that point then I'm probably going to bring the chickens back in and just leave them in here for a while until we're ready for planting. So it's probably going to be near to 2 months now before we actually get planting in here, so we've got plenty time to spread on the compost that we've made back in September, and it's been sitting there. We use the hop compost method, so it's ready to go to come on here, be laid out on top, and hopefully from here on out I won't ever have to dig these beds again. I'm going to try to adapt a no dig method from here on out, because it is just far less work. This was hard work, you know, like double digging is all digging, it is hard work, like full stop. Like double digging especially is the worst kind of work, you know, especially on compacted soil. It is back breaking, like I said. So we're going to spread our amendments, and then I'm going to prepare at the back here where I'm sitting. You can't see it here now, I'll add in the video, but that's this is going to be a little nursery area here, somewhere I can have a cup of tea, somewhere I can pot up plants, and somewhere I can leave seedlings growing, and all inside the polytunnel. I have a few other small jobs I need to do in here. I need to put a back door, I need to have adequate ventilation, and figure out some way that we don't actually have access to water down here. The nearest tap is, it's a couple of 100 meters away, so I'm gonna have to sort out some watering system. Like, it's fine this time of the year, obviously, like, you know, but come summer inside a polytunnel you're going to need to be watering most days, you know. So so that's it, yeah. Great fun digging in the polytunnel. I'm going to go fertilize the beds here now, and I'll talk to you again soon. So what we have here now are the amendments that I'm going to add to the soil. So Steve Solomon's, in his book Gardening When It Counts, talks a lot about if you can afford the amendments to add to the soil when you're gardening, especially in your first year, take advantage of them, you know. Just a lot of, like, obviously go with organic fertilizers if you can. Talks a lot about chicken manure being a more complete fertilizer, but then again, of course, using it sparingly, and from then out, if you can prepare compost and using well-rotted manure where you can, because we've only set this polytunnel up and this entire garden up since September. I don't have a whole lot of compost prepared for this garden here, so I am going to opt for fertilizer this year. and the benefits of that will last in the soil. Being organic, you know, it's going to feed the microbes and actually feed the soil, in turn feed the plants. So the benefits of fertilizing this year is going to stay in the ground for a good few years, and then every year from here out I'll be adding my well-rotted manure and my compost that I make here myself, and that's going to supplement the soil with whatever it's going to need. So I have 4 things here which I find is probably the most important. You know, first off is going to be the chicken manure pellets. One is a more nitrogen based one, so that will give you the more leafy green growth, and the second one is actually a friend of mine gave me a bag of this as well. It's just a more complete organic fertilizer, so it has a balance of NP and K, and it has some micronutrients and minerals as well contained in it. So for each of my beds here is approximately about 12 square meters. 10 to 12 square meters is the mix of the beds. So this stuff I'm going to apply about 2 kilos of this fertilizer to each bed. And then next we have seaweed dust, which is just a kelp meal dust. Again, it's got loads of micronutrients, loads of minerals contained in it, stuff that you can't actually get like even from your compost unless you're composting seaweed. You know, it's got phosphates, magnesium, chlorine, sulfur, copper, it's got some zinc, it's got trace elements of boron, nickel. So it's got all that good stuff that's not only going to help your plants to grow stronger and be more disease resistant, but because it's got so many minerals and vitamins in it, they're actually going to be more nutritious and taste a lot better. And the last one then here, we've got the volcanic rock dust, which is mostly just basalt, granite rock dust. And just, again, with this and with the kelp meal, for every 10 square meters you're going to add about 1 kilo of each per 10 square meters. So I'm just going to mix them up now. I'm going to dress them on the top, and I'm going to slightly rake them in. And what I'm going to do after that, then I'm just going to lay a layer of compost on top of each of the beds and water it in, and I'm going to feed it then over the next few weeks with my compost teas to feed the life in the soil. And then when it comes time for planting, I've no doubt that I'm going to have massive abundance of food growing in here. Like, this is going to be my main growing area, you know, which I'm hoping to be the most productive. I'm going to have staple crops like potatoes and things growing outside, but this is where most of the food is going to be grown, you know. So I want this to be, I want the soil here to be as fertile as possible, you know, for the rest of the growing season. So that's it now. We finally managed to finish this polytunnel. Topped off our beds with compost. We brought the chickens in for a few days to let them pick through the compost and feed on some of the composting worms and do a little bit of fertilizing. It's still the middle of January, so there's nothing going to be planted into these beds for probably another 2 months nearly, you know. One thing I added as well, which is very important for me, is a little potting area and a nursery area. So I have the area on the left here, just made out of, again, pallets, bits of wood that we had lying around the place. There was a small bit of plywood in the container, so I was able to use that. Putting a little simple shelving system made out of old pallets and some mesh that I had left over from the chicken enclosure. And I have a table that was just an old cable reel. I'm going to install another shelving unit here as well, so it will get a lot of light. This one might be just a little bit shaded. It'll be great for starting off seedlings, but for them to grow on, I'm probably going to have a lot of seedlings growing in trays ready to go into the ground at any one time. So I'm going to put another shelving unit over here and make it out of them pallets here on the floor, and probably do something very similar. So that's it now, guys, from the polytunnel. We are set up and ready for the growing season. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, you could always subscribe. And if you have any thoughts on a polytunnel growing, and any tips, they'd be greatly appreciated. So if you want to post them below in the comments, I'll get back. I'll look at all of them and I'll reply. So thanks very much for watching again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.